Hi. So this is Denise Dryden, first time going live ever. I'm in my backyard in Whitefish. I've got the camera set up and I thought we'd spend a little bit of time talking about how to be present as a parent and then how to be present in a parent when we're in a time of such complexity, so many balls in the air, so many things going on. And I don't know how long this is going to take. It might take 10 minutes. It might take a half an hour. More than anything, if you type a message like ask me a question, I might do some interactive stuff depending on what happens on this screen because I'm staring at a blank screen, looking at myself. And I can see the backyard in the back, which is lovely. And I filmed it out here because I'm underneath this maple tree that's over 30 years old. It was started as a little seedling and it just sort of, holds this space in the backyard. And then you can see some of the acreage and the evergreens behind. And I really wish you could see the gateway to the Glacier National Park that's just right on the other side of those trees down the hill behind me. So we're coming live from Whitefish, Montana. So let's talk about parenting and let's talk about presence. So first, let's talk about what it means to be present in your body or what it means to have presence. I recently went to a global summit in Chester, Connecticut with a Transformational Presence Leadership and Coaching Group. And we were there with 44 people from 9 different countries. And all of us are coaches and leaders, and we bring this into our workplace. We bring this into the things that we do. I started working with this about a year and a half directly after I trained with Alan Seal in April in Seattle. However, I'd been using these tools for about a year and a half before that because of the book that he wrote. And so this concept of being present, actually calming ourselves down, getting to a place where our breathing is steady, where we are completely in line with the outer part of our body and the inner part of our soul, and we can stand there in that complete presence. When we can get to that place, that's when the magic happens. And sometimes it's easy to do that and sometimes it isn't. And I like to think that it is a tool. And I have 2 or 3 different ways that we can stop, breathe, maybe go into mountain pose if you're into yoga, take a couple of deep breaths, visualize yourself in a peaceful place. And more than anything, what it takes is being able to sort of empty the tank or become an empty vessel where there's space to breathe, where there's nothing kind of coming in from the outside saying, wow, what about this? What about this time frame? I have this responsibility. I have these things I need to take care of. So what this does is when we can get to that quiet place, we can actually hear ourselves. We can actually know ourselves. So for just a minute, I know it's kind of nice out here. I've got the sound of birds chirping in the background and I've got a light breeze going through. Why don't we just do that for a second? Why don't we just take a deep breath, maybe close your eyes, and feel your feet on the floor. Feel your bottom in the chair. And just allow yourself to have that effervescent presence of breath going in and out, where you can hear the birds in the background. Maybe notice what's going on inside your body. Notice what it takes for your breath to go down to a quiet place. Let it go. Notice how your shoulders feel. Notice where your clothing touches your skin, where the air passes across it. And when you're ready, just open your eyes. And from that place, maybe it's a little bit easier to know what really matters. So let's talk about how this present skill is something that's really important when we're parenting. And then we're going to talk about this complicated and complexity issue that happens a lot in our lives. But let's start first with parenting. So if we have a child that wants our attention, that has something going on. They're sad, they're mad, they're bored, they're hungry, they're triggered by something, they want to watch TV, or we've got a teenager that wants to push on a curfew boundary, or they want to do something that you know isn't part of what you want to do. And if you're putting away groceries, or if you're looking up from your desk, or you're pausing on the phone from talking to a friend, or your mind's going through things a mile a minute, you're not really present. And so you have this kid in front of you going, hey, 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 hey. And you know, they amp it up. They get louder. They get snarky. They start tapping you and they start triggering you. So they're triggered because you're not paying attention to them. And then you're triggered because they won't stop. And then they, kind of hit you over and over and over again. Why not? Why not? Why not? Come on, Mom. Why not? Why not? So when we go to that place where we can just instantly, within 5 seconds, 10 seconds, take a deep breath, get fully present in our body, and then put down, whatever it is that we're doing, that nothing matters for that 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 2 minutes, 10 minutes. And we come and we turn and we face our child and we connect to him from that place. You have my complete, undivided attention. So what is it that you want? And then there's this tool to be able to look at our child and say, over here on this one side is my kid. I love this kid. I'm just going to use my son, for example. I love this kid. There's nothing that could ever stop me from loving this child. He's a beautiful soul. And then over here on this side is this behavior that like you're looking at him and going, where did that behavior come from? Why are you doing this right now? I wonder what's going on. But sometimes when we're in the midst of it and we're not in a place of presence, all we do is we forget about the love we have for that child and we react all the time to that behavior. And when we react to that behavior, then we are in triggered and reaction, and then they're in reaction, and the whole relationship escalates. So when we can sort of separate and hold two completely different concepts at the same time, which is, I absolutely love this young man, and his behavior is really aggravating right now, and I'm wondering what's going on. I'm going to present that there's this other one spot that we can do as a parent, that once we're present and we realize I got both these dynamics going on, we're going to step back, maybe just from a different perspective. Physically, I like to give myself about 10 feet where I can go child over here and behavior over here, and realize that they are really one and the same. That the child inside has a layer of behavior, and we want to be able to accept the behavior and deal with the behavior, but also accept and deal with the child. So when we have these two polarity ideas, and we have the love for a child that's bottomless and the behavior that's aggravating, and we hold them here and we step back to what I call a wisdom spot, which is being able to look at both of them at the same time, we can sort of hold for this, I love my son, and I know that this behavior is happening, and I wonder why that's there. And I love my son, and I have this reaction to this behavior that's going on. And so what happens is we hold both of these at the same time. And from our wisdom spot, we're able to say, I wonder why he's acting like that. And then when we can keep ourselves calm and we can get it right in there and go, so what's going on? What is it that you really need from me right now? All of a sudden, when you show up and you're completely present, they calm down. Or they're like, uh-oh, now mom's really paying attention to me. And so what we do is we hold for both. We don't dismiss the behavior and we don't forget what we're doing as far as loving, but we hold for both of those to be present at the same time. I love you. I'm wondering what's going on. And from that place, we provide connection, which is I'm making eye contact, my shoulders are calm, I'm in a good, quiet space. And then from that place, you say, so what is it that we need to do? And then, the example that I used to get all the time when my kids were younger is, I want to go to the movies. I want to go to the 9 o'clock, and I want you to come pick me up, because he didn't have his driver's license at that time, at 11:30. I'm like, okay, I got to work tomorrow at 6:30, and I'm not feeling it. I'm not getting up at 11:30, or I'm not going out in the car at 11:30 at night to go pick you up. I have to get up early in the morning. But when we get to that calm place and we're present and we realize that we're dealing with the behavior and we also are dealing with love, and that, sort of use that infinity sign, that they can both coexist at the same time, you can go, well, I have to get up really early, and it would be easier for me if you went to the earlier movie, and I'd be more than willing to pick you up until 10, maybe 10:30 at the latest. So if there's a way we can work on that, that'd be great. So you set that boundary. So the first thing that you do is you get present and lined up in your body. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is that you connect. You get down on their level and you say, I see you. I hear you. You have my full attention. And then you ask what's going on, and then you state what you're willing to do. And if they're not willing to acknowledge that, if they're like, nah, I want to go to the movies, blah, 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 you know how that works, you just keep going back to, yeah, but that doesn't work for me tonight. And you stay in that beautiful, soft, present place. And after a while, they're like, yeah, I'm not getting anywhere with Mom. It's not going to happen. So, getting into that state of presence is transferable into our relationships. It's transferable, of course, into the workplace. When you've got so many balls in the air, and you just have to calm it down and turn around and go, what is it that I need to focus on right now? So being present as a parent is a crucial tool. So whether we breathe for 5 minutes, whether we take, give me a minute, I need to take a walk, whether we do some sort of a short yoga pose, whatever it is that we need to do to get present is the way we start. And then it allows us to see things in the world that we might not be able to see if we're in our head and all scattered. So now I want to transition that from this complicated idea of, we're busy all the time, and how do we do that? And the idea that we live in a really complex world. So let me break that down for you. As we started to have a lot of activities after school with kids, and I'm older, I started doing activities in the 60s and 70s as a kid, and my mom was driving me all over the place, or actually I had to learn how to ride my bike everywhere. But from about the 70s, 80s, 90s, and on, we have a lot of commitments, a lot of activities, a lot of places to be, and a lot of things to do with our children. Bedtime, medication, sometimes learning challenges, sometimes extra tutoring time, all of these things that happen. On top of us running our own life, taking care of ourselves, the work we do for a living, the relationship we have that needs love and attention, and each child provides another one of those focus areas. So it's possible for any of us to have 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 major things that we're juggling. Hopefully not 15. So I'm going to use myself as an example. As a mother of 3 children, I had both myself to take care of. I had my husband. I had the work and the roles that I played in the community. And then I had 3 children with really unique learning styles and needs. So when I had these 6 balls in the air, it got a lot more complicated, because I had to sort of spend the morning lining them up, trying to make everything come into order. Okay, I've got to grab this, I've got to grab this. If I've got it on my calendar, it's going to happen. And I noticed that the calendar over the years got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and more complicated. When we're doing that at work, when we're doing that in places where we have so many responsibilities, this complicated life, as soon as we start to make a plan, something shifts and starts to wiggle, and then we have to regroup and reorganize it. Regroup, reorganize it. Short-term plans, what do I have to do for the next hour to get the kids out the door as a parent? What do I have to do for the next 2 hours before lunch at work, before I'm free for the afternoon for my meetings? All of these complicated pieces. What started to happen at about the turn of the millennium and about 2000 on, is that we started having so many things on our plate that we couldn't grab them all at once and we couldn't organize them. And so we've started shifting into what I'm going to call, or what Alan has been writing articles about, but I'm going to call that complexity of life, which is what happens when there's so many things in the air that it's overwhelming. And so when I think of complexity, I think of chaos. I think of balls in the air moving in all different directions all at the same time, and you try to grab them and you try to line them up, and the second you turn they scatter and go back and they start swirling around you, and you're thinking, there's no way, I don't know how to do this. And so when things get so complex, and I like to also, I'm going to just take a little segue over here, think of it as multidimensional terminology too, which is some of its thoughts, some of its feelings, some of its responsibilities, some of its triggers, some of its physical stuff right in front of you. And all of these things hold space, and all of these things are trying to get our attention. So when we live in a complex world, presence is one of the few tools that you really can use. Because what you do is you go, I'm overwhelmed. I have all of these things going on. What do I need to do? I need to take a deep breath. I need to figure out where my center is. I need to know who I am. I need to make sure that my vessel is empty and there's nothing blocking me. And then look around and go, so what's going on out here? I wonder which one needs my attention. I wonder what wants to happen here. And the most important thing to do is take one step and then reevaluate. Like, it used to be that we could do 1, 2, 3 steps and we'd go, yep, check, 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 we're going just fine. Now with complexity, it's about take a step, look around, and watch what happens. If you take a step in the wrong direction, everything starts roaring and getting really big, and you're like, whoa, okay, not the right step. So let me see. What if I go over here? And if you go over here and you notice that things sort of calm down, okay, so that worked. For right now, for this moment, it worked. Next, take another step. But when you do it from presence, everything sort of slows down in slow motion and you realize, oh, I got it. I'm present. I see what's going on. I know that if I take care of this, then this is going to fall into place. And if I take care of that, then this is going to fall into place. And I can't, by any way, shape, or form, make a plan of, and then I'm going to do this and this and this, because that's when we're talking from our head. But when we get down to this core of our inner being and we prioritize from that place, and we go, oh, this wants to happen right now, then all of that complexity slows down and we have a tool to navigate our way through it. So how to parent in a complex world is that presence is like our most valuable tool. And we've called it mindfulness, and we've called it a lot of different things over the years. But at its core, everything can start and stop when we slow down enough to see the big picture and go back to, man, I'm reacting all the time to behavior instead of love. And when I can hold both of these and sort of use that infinity and sort of swim back and forth between, I love my child and this behavior is here for a reason. I wonder why. What is it that he needs from me? What is it that my child needs from me right now? How do I get myself completely present? And how do I then connect from that spot and then tell him or her or any of them what I'm willing to do from this place? So I'm curious, there's a few of you that are listening right now, and if there's a question that you'd like to ask me, feel free to ask it. If not, this can be our really short first time going live. And I'm excited because I'm doing this on my iPhone, and I've got one of those little curly stands, and I can stick this thing anywhere. So what my intention is every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. is to go find some wonderful spot in Montana or any place else that I'm traveling, and play with this and talk to you live about the things that really matter in parenting. So if there are no questions, if there's no interaction right now, that's cool. This has just been such a great experience to be able to talk to you about the importance of presence, being present as a parent and understanding that complexity can be overwhelming, but it's very, very easily brought into form when we can slow ourselves down and become curious about what wants to happen. So thank you very much for joining me today on my first live, and look forward to seeing you next Sunday. All right? Take care. So now there we go.